Welcome back, fellow fans of Clash Royale, or if it's your first time here, thank you so much for stopping by. Let's take a minute just to be real with one another, okay? The average Clash Royale player is really a subjective term if you think about it. Most players, just like most drivers, if asked, will say that they are above average. But I'm going to tell you that I'm a pretty average player. Now, in grand challenges and regular challenges, if you are a truly average player, then I'm guessing you probably win 3 battles, you lose 3 battles, and you finish the challenge with 3 victories. Now, I would say over the last 6 months or so, my average win in a grand challenge rate is about, I would say, between 4 and 7, somewhere around there. But this deck that I'm playing right here, that I've been playing for the last few days, suddenly has made me a better player. Suddenly, every single challenge I'm winning about 8 times. In fact, the last 3 grand challenges in a row, 8 wins and 3 losses. And I gotta tell you, statistically, that's above average, no matter how you look at it. And it's a large enough sampling that it makes me think that something about this deck is helping out noobs like me. Now, I realize that a lot of people are going to throw hate at the Inferno Tower. They're going to throw hate at the Rocket, and that's fine. We don't care, right? You guys use Royal Giants. You guys BM. You'll use the Mortar. You'll use the X-Bow. Okay, not all of you, but a lot of you. Admittedly, most players will do whatever they can to get ahead, to get more cards, to get more gold. Here's your opportunity. Try out this deck that makes noobs play a little bit over their heads. Okay, now I have had a few pretty good moves in these battles, but I gotta tell you, there's something about this deck in the current tournament or challenge meta that's working out pretty well. Now, the Inferno Tower, a great tool against your Giants, your Royal Giants, of course, Infernos, and Lava Hounds as well. And then the Rocket, it has so many different good uses. It's expensive at 6 elixir, but there's a lot of different ways you can put the Rocket to use. Now, of course, lucky log rolls like that one there, I will admit, do help out. And I have had a few bits of luck, but hey, you can either look at that as luck or skill, predictability right there. Good Rocket taking out the hut and damaging the tower as well. And again, I admit that this is kind of ugly because a lot of the damage you're doing is the Rocket on the tower. But hey, if you need to confess to somebody, you can confess to me. You can confess to Nick at Night, who used to do this all the time. He never even needed a troop to get to the tower. He would just rocket lightning fireball his way to victory. As time counts down, another rocket, and despite the huge mass of troops coming at me, we managed somehow to stop them with less than 100 hit points on the tower and grab the win. Now, I did say wow, and then on that one, I did immediately after that say good game. Now, I want to go over the fundamentals of this deck, okay? These are the fundamentals as I see it. It really comes down to the Rocket, okay? It's the Rocket that is helping me win these battles, and you guys, people can rant and rave all they want. There's plenty, again, dirty cards in Clash Royale, but here are the 4 fundamentals to winning with this Rocket Inferno Hog Rider deck. Now, again, take this with a grain of salt. This isn't completely serious because obviously it's not just the Rocket that's carrying you, but let's run over this list, okay? Number 1, Rocket combo every chance you get. And what I mean by Rocket combo is any time that there's a troop passing by an opponent's tower, try to get that Rocket to land on the troop and the tower. Now, that right there is not an easy move, especially with a faster moving unit like a Mega Minion, like an Electro Wizard sometimes that you'll see coming by. It's not always wise, say, on a Golem, on a unit that has a ton of hit points, but it does work out pretty well most of the time if you can get that Rocket in there and get damage on the tower and on the other unit coming by at the same time. If it's a unit that Rocket can one-shot, then it's almost like free damage on the tower, or at least countering that unit for free. So number 2, Rocket every single elixir collector. Now that elixir collectors cost 6 elixir, if you can get the Rocket down, and the key here is to rocket the elixir collector before your opponent has a chance to gather an elixir from it. So if that's not going to happen, then maybe it's not the best thing to do because your opponent will get a positive elixir trade on you. spending 6, getting 1 back, and then you've spent 6. You can do the math. He wins by 1. Okay, number 3. Rockets can work defensively, but you've got to be careful about this one. Again, take into consideration the fact that the rocket, A, is 6 elixir, and B, isn't necessarily going to take everything out. Obviously, if you're rocketing a golem and some other units, it's not going to do a great deal of damage on the golem. But there are a lot of different situations where the opponent has brought several different units in on top of each other. Maybe it's a musketeer, an electro wizard, some goblins. You get that rocket in there, positive elixir trade, especially on those evil elite barbarians. And number 4, and this is perhaps the most important rule of all in this checklist for rocket users, and that is the rule of 493. What I mean by that is this easy saying: tower for free, 493. That means never forget that your tournament level rocket is 493 hit points of damage on the tower. If you're doing this in ladder, make sure you know that number ahead of time, and don't throw a rocket if you see a tower's got 494 hit points unless you've got a log right behind it. Always remember the exact amount of damage the rocket does and keep that in mind during the battle. So yes, using the rocket is a little bit dirty, but if we eliminated all cards that people consider dirty from the game, you're going to lose a lot of cards. The rocket, the Royal Giant, Lightning Spell, Sparky, Lava Hound, a lot of people even consider the Golem, definitely the Miner. So there's all sorts of different cards that are considered dirty by different players, so it's really up to you. For me, my standards really come down to there's only one thing that I consider dirty in this game, and that is throwing the evil BM emote up at the very end of a battle when you win. Other than that, I say it's free reign. Now, of course, also, if you use the Expo or the Mortar, I'm likely to BM you, but that's just me. Okay, moving on, let's take a look at another battle and break this one down. Another Grand Challenge battle. You can see the opponent's got the Electro Wizard, he's got the Executioner, starting out with the Crying Eyes, which to this day always confuses me. Why people who are the same level as you want to start out by throwing up the tears. I'm not sure. Somebody tell me in the comments, please. I'm asking you, what does that mean? Does it mean the person is scared of you, intimidated? Does it mean that they feel bad for you? I really don't know. I honestly don't know. All right, first, confrontation's going to end up in my favor. Would have loved to have dropped the rocket on that Executioner. One of my favorite guys to drop the rocket on his head and the tower. He's only 1 elixir less than the rocket, and it gives you basically 493 damage for just 1 elixir. Here's 493 for 2 elixir. Not bad. 6 for 4, and again, 493. Gotta love that number as the Electro Wizard taken out of the equation before he ever becomes a factor. So also, it tends to throw the opponent off a little bit. Maybe they have a specific push that they have in mind. They wanted the Electro Wizard, and then they wanted to get the minions in there, and maybe the Executioner. They have to completely rethink their push if they have a set push, a set combination of troops that they're trying to put together to get to your tower. So we're down to about the last 90 seconds of this battle. As you can see, my opponent just barely having touched my tower with the fireball. We've got about 1,000 hit points off of his tower, and here the Inferno tower does pretty good double duty, helps take out the Valkyrie and the Executioner. And check out that piggyback, Hog Rider on a hog on top of an ice golem, and they get to the tower. Electro Wizard decides he's going to turn around and walk away. That works out pretty well. I'm going to take some damage on my tower, but the result is his is under 493, so now it's just a matter of holding him off. Now, he did save his graveyard until double elixir. I wasn't expecting this, so the graveyard comes in on the left, and this is usually one of the decks that I have difficulty with. The Ice Golem way out in front, have to rely on the log, the single elixir skeletons. Going to work out relatively well. We take a little bit of damage on the left-hand side, but we're still in the lead, just trying to hold him off. You can see that he's gone to defend, but check this out. Yes, the beautiful rocket takes the tower down and finishes off that Executioner. That was a close one. He almost got out of range. On the left-hand side, another Graveyard Valkyrie combination. Desperation Inferno tower in front of the tower. Log, single elixir skeletons, Ice Golem, everything going down. 12 seconds left. Taking a lot of damage, just trying to hold him off. And the Desperation arrows, not quite enough. And yes, somehow we managed to grab the 1-0 win. So there it is, you guys. It's dirty. It's filthy. It's wrong in a lot of people's books, but I want to hear your feedback. Do you win at any cost as long as it's not cheating or an exploit, or are there certain cards you just absolutely will not use? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you again for watching all the way to the end of this episode. Please hit that subscribe button. Check me out on Beam.pro, live streaming almost every single day. And I hope to see you all back here again tomorrow for more full dirty attacks.
Galadon, I heard you shower after every battle.